I want to go on the record and say that hearing Nathan Drake's voice come out of Jason Fleming's hideously deformed mouth is nightmare-inducing. Welcome to What on Earth is Shadow Complex Remastered, a remastered version of a game called Shadow Complex. Shocking, I know. I never played the original Shadow Complex when it was released back in 2009 for the Xbox 360, mostly because I didn't own an Xbox 360 at that point in time. When Shadow Complex Remastered popped up on Steam, though, I looked into its history a bit and discovered that it received near universal praise when it was first released. And it even came to the PC Master Race back in 2015, though it was to something called the Epic Store, which further explains why I've never heard of it. A 5-dimensional side-scrolling extravaganza, you play as Jason Fleming, the innocent son of a high-ranking government or military father. It's not really made clear, and the only facts are that Jason doesn't want to kill people. Jason's father said he would one day have to, and wouldn't you know it, Jason's father was right. After an off-the-wall introductory cutscene that makes no sense, Jason's girlfriend, Claire, takes him on a caving adventure for a date, going back to what she says was a cave system she used to explore as a child. Hello, Batwoman? Events occur as they usually do in these situations, and Claire is quickly kidnapped by a group of elite soldiers who have a jaw-droppingly enormous complex hidden in and around the cave system. She's accused of being a spy, and Jason, being the smart kind of guy that he is, decides to hightail it out of there before he gets killed. No, really, that is a possible ending partway through the story. And who cares if it's not canonical? Only a total moron is going to get caught up in some kind of vast conspiracy like this. Assuming you continue playing the role of the moron, though, you get to explore this inexplicably vast yet unknown complex, finding new weapons and upgrades along the way, first in a quest to save Claire, then in a quest to escape, then in a quest to turn back around and destroy the complex, even though you don't really want to, but Claire asks you to, so of course you say yes. Setting aside the plot absurdities for a moment, and really, let's be clear, this is truly absurd. The Vice President of the United States is killed by mysterious attackers. There's a vast underground complex that's manufacturing giant mechs and has large guard towers and high numbers of troops stationed above ground that somehow has eluded satellite view during its entire construction and operational phases. An elite army of soldiers is outsmarted and outgunned by a regular Joe. Okay, the last one might be explainable. Apparently during the construction that this secret military organization hid from the entire planet, they left a lot of places for anyone to crouch down and shuffle through. Air vents, holes in the wall, and even janitorial closets lead into cave systems, secure rooms, and heck, even the outside. The pest control bill for this place must be off the charts. Either that or all the soldiers are actually raccoons inside full bodysuits, which would explain why you never see any enemy faces. Anyway, I digress. If you ignore the plot absurdities and how they clash with Nolan North's entrancing and hypnotic voice, Shadow Complex Remastered is actually a really fun game. It only takes a few hours to complete if you hurry through the story without collecting the plethora of optional upgrades, and while I started out with a fairly meh opinion, I ended the game feeling quite satisfied. The gameplay is a bit loose, though it responded well enough that I didn't die too often to control scheme-induced issues. I played nearly every second of it on a controller, and aiming was the most difficult part, particularly over long distances. The worst part about the controls by far, though, was when I had to deal with that 5-dimensional nonsense I mentioned earlier. See, Shadow Complex is a 2D side-scroller. However, the environment, including enemies, live in 3 dimensions. So enemies can walk, run, take cover, and open fire in that 3rd dimension, and trying to hit them is an exercise in frustration more often than not. Certain areas of the map seem to be coded so that rotating the stick of the controller helps you to aim behind you into that 3rd dimension, but it doesn't always work properly. I suspect that using a mouse would have helped some, but the fundamental problem of fitting in some 3D action into a 2D space still remains. Graphically, the game is long in the tooth despite whatever changes the remastered edition brought about, and it feels very retro and old on the whole. Despite this, it is pleasing to look at, and the areas of the map are surprisingly varied as you move from a forest to water areas, both indoor and outdoor, to large open rooms to small cramped ducts and elevators. The rooms are full of detail both in the foreground and background, which makes some of the sections of the game seem particularly absurd. This rang no truer than when I was having to jetpack jump from stair landing to stair landing while the stairs themselves flowed in and out of the foreground and background, perfectly usable by 3-dimensional beings but completely useless to my 2D self. I understand the aesthetic that the designers went for here, but having those type of Mario-esque situations in the game made me pause for a second to laugh at how ridiculous it looked. The game's cutscenes are where the graphics really fall apart as a cardboard Claire engages with a well-voiced but horribly disfigured Jason. The game is 7 years old at this point though, and there's only so much that the Botox of some upgraded polygons can do to cover up the ancient cutscene renders, so this isn't a negative against the game, but more of just a funny note. Save points are littered throughout the map in extremely convenient locations, and I only once found myself in a situation where I had to repeat several minutes of gameplay after dying, and that ended up being my fault for not progressing one more room into a save room before facing a boss. Save rooms also act as health and ammo restocking stations, though depending on the difficulty level you play at, you may run across enough health and ammo in the field that you don't have to pick up any at save stations to begin with. I played through Shadow Complex in the easiest setting, not because I'm a giant wimp who hates to lose, but because something I'm getting older, something just want to experience a story, something. Shadow Complex's music and sound design are adequate, I suppose, but as I sit here and think about them, I have a hard time remembering anything that stands out on the music front. On the sound front, though, the various weapons have very nice effects, and you hear a wide range of voices from the soldiers, along with a detailed assortment of environmental effects. Nothing is grating or irritating, and it all works together in a way that blends into the background rather than standing out. Whether that's good or bad is up to your personal opinion, but personally, I prefer that to hearing a pervert breathe loudly in my ear whenever I run out of stamina. On the whole, as a complete game, Shadow Complex Remastered is enjoyable, but lacking depth. Fans of two-dimensional side-scrollers will get a kick out of how the game looks and plays, but gamers who aren't enthralled by this type of game may not find it to be worth the price point. There is nothing inherently bad or wrong with the game, and it does in fact do many things well, but for gamers who want more than a quick and casual side-scrolling romp, there isn't a lot of meat on the bones. Think of it as a lightweight action adventure that you'll breeze through fairly quickly, and your expectations will be set appropriately. I'm Mike, and this is Game Night with Mike. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back again soon.